Hey everyone, I'm working to hit 1,000 subscribers and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy the content, hit that subscribe button right now. I mean right now. Pause me if you have to, because trust me, by the end of this video, you are going to want to be part of this channel. And hey, while your thumb is already up there on the screen, smash that like button too. It costs you nothing and it means everything to this channel. Okay? Deal made. Let's get into it. Because, folks, we are 48 hours away, 48 hours, from the Denver Broncos stepping onto the turf at Empower Field at Mile High for the very first time this season against the Green Bay Packers. Preseason, yes, but do not let that word fool you into thinking this is meaningless. Because behind the scenes at Broncos training camp, there is drama brewing. There is a wide receiver getting quietly bumped down the depth chart. There is a former hyped-up linebacker who might be hiding an injury the team does not want to talk about. And there is a rookie offensive lineman turning heads so hard that people are already calling him the heir apparent on the best offensive line in football. So buckle up, Broncos Country, because today we are breaking down the three biggest rumors swirling around this team right now, and I promise you, at least one of these is going to make you want to throw your remote across the room. Let's start with the wide receiver room, because something is happening there that nobody wants to say out loud. Everybody wants to talk about how loaded, how stacked, how ridiculously talented this Denver receiver room is. And look, it is. But here is the cold, hard truth about football that nobody likes to hear. You cannot have 6 starting caliber receivers and give every single one of them 1,000 yards. The math does not work. Somebody has to take a step back. And right now, all signs are pointing to Troy Franklin being that guy. Now, before you come at me in the comments, before you start typing out your angry paragraph, let me be crystal clear about what I am saying and what I am not saying. I am not saying the Broncos are trading Troy Franklin. I am not saying they are cutting him. I am not saying the kid is suddenly going to forget how to play football. None of that. What I am saying is that during training camp, Troy has been running with a second-team offense. Even without Marvin Mims out there, it has been Courtland Sutton, the newly added star talent, and Pat Bryant rolling with the first team while Troy works with the twos. That is not speculation. That is not a hot take. That is what has been observed on the practice field day after day. And look, I know some of you are going to say, Moose, last week you were clowning on Courtland Sutton, and now you are singing a different tune. Guilty as charged. I was wrong about Sutton, and I said so immediately. I do not have an ego problem here. I call it like I see it. But here is the thing. I have never once wavered on my belief that Troy Franklin was going to take a step back this season. Why? Because when you add a player of that caliber to your receiver room, somebody who is an established difference maker, the math of an NFL offense does not bend to accommodate everybody's stat line. Somebody has to give. We already saw Courtland Sutton shut down the doubters. Was it just preseason week 1 against Atlanta? Sure. But the man looked motivated, looked fired up, looked like a guy chasing another 1,000-yard season. On top of that, this new star talent is quite possibly the best receiver on this entire offense already. And then there is Pat Bryant, who has arguably had the best training camp of any single player on this entire roster. Full stop. So when you stack all of that up, somebody was always going to be the odd man out, and right now, that is Troy Franklin. Here's the part I really want you to sit with, though, because this is important. Troy played 17 snaps against the Falcons. He got targeted twice. He had a genuinely nice catch, a 23-yard grab off a play-action fake from Jarrett Stidham. He did not play badly. I want to repeat that. He did not play badly. He also did not wow anybody. It was just fine. Solid, unremarkable, and that is exactly my point about Troy Franklin right now, and it was fine performance from a talented young receiver in a room this deep is basically a red flag waving in the wind. I want you to remember this phrase, because I say it a lot and it matters. Statistical regression can happen even if the player is not getting worse. Troy Franklin is not becoming a worse football player overnight. This has nothing to do with a decline in his actual skill set. It is simply the byproduct of the team adding someone better than him at the position. That is it. That is football. So my money is on Troy Franklin taking a real step back statistically this year, not because he stinks, but because the room got that much more competitive above him. I am personally very high on Marvin Mims taking that next step this year too, which only adds more pressure to that receiver room. So drop a comment down below and tell me, do you think Troy Franklin bounces back and proves me wrong? Or do you think this receiver room really is that deep? I want to hear it. All right, before I get to rumor number 2, and trust me, this one is spicy, I have got to give a shout out to the folks who make this show possible, our friends over at PrizePicks. Listen, I am not exaggerating when I tell you I am greening out today, baby. You can win up to 2,000 times your money while literally watching the Denver Broncos play football this season. That is insane value. Here is how you do it. Download the PrizePicks app right now. Sign up using code MA, that's HMA. Play your very first $5 lineup, and if that lineup hits, PrizePicks hands you $150 in bonus lineups. That is free money sitting on the table for you. Now, I decided to switch things up a little bit today instead of going straight season-long Broncos picks. I built a baseball lineup because right now, the hottest hitter on the planet is on an absolute tear, and I am taking the more on his home run total because the man is hitting dingers everywhere he goes. I also grabbed one of the game's most dominant pitchers, taking the more on his strikeout total because some folks argue he is the best arm in all of baseball right now. Not football, baseball, but hey, PrizePicks lets you play across sports, and that flexibility is exactly why I love this platform. So go download the app, use code MA, play that first $5 lineup, and if it hits, you walk away with $150 bonus dollars. All the links are down in the comments and description of this video. PrizePicks, baby, it is good to be right. Okay, rumor number 2, and this is the one people keep sliding into my DMs about. Is Drew Sanders actually a lock to make the 53-man roster? My honest answer right now? Not even close, and I would argue his stock is trending in the wrong direction fast. Let's rewind to last week against Atlanta for a second. Drew got a sack. I lost my mind. Number 41 getting home on the quarterback, the sideline erupting, high fives everywhere. It was a genuinely great moment. But here is where things get suspicious. 3 straight days. 3 straight days of no practice, no pads. Nothing now. Is this the same situation we saw earlier with Courtland Sutton also missing time? I do not think so, and here is why. Given Drew Sanders' well-documented injury history and the fact that the man is not even padded up right now, my gut says the Broncos are quietly managing or maybe even hiding an injury. Something is bothering this kid, and it is keeping him off the practice field entirely. Another respected voice in the Broncos content space put it bluntly, saying we can basically conclude the Drew Sanders experiment is nearing its end. And honestly, I am leaning that direction too. Maybe I am not ready to be 100% definitive about it just yet, but the trend line is undeniable. You simply cannot make an NFL roster if you are constantly sidelined. And look, give credit where it's due. Against the Falcons, Drew had a legitimately nice moment. He recorded the team's only tackle of the game, his pass rush grade came in respectably around the 63 range, and he played a decent number of snaps. But when you zoom out and look at how this Broncos linebacker room is shaping up, both outside and inside, I genuinely do not see a clear path for Drew Sanders to crack that final roster. We are seeing glowing praise for the rookie outside linebacker turning heads at camp. We are seeing real buzz around another young pass rusher. We have seen encouraging flashes from a developing linebacker prospect whose exact camp role is still coming into focus. The interior linebacker spots already look spoken for, with two clear locks holding down the middle of that defense alongside a box linebacker who has been playing his role extremely well, plus a rookie who has been sent on blitz packages and shown real juice as a pressure player. Remember, the plan for Drew Sanders was always to be a hybrid, a combo piece who plays some inside, some outside, but leans more toward the edge. The problem is, if you already have inside linebackers flashing the ability to generate pressure, particularly against the run, the roster math for Drew Sanders just does not add up cleanly right now. Especially when you remember, this defense recorded 68 sacks last season without him playing a major role. They were fine. More than fine. So here's my question for you, and I want a real answer down in the comments. This is going to be the pinned comment on today's video. Name a Broncos player you believe is genuinely on the roster bubble right now. And I do not want some random name of a guy buried on the depth chart with zero shot. I want a legitimate roster bubble guy. Someone who could just as easily make this team as get cut from it. Drop that name below. All right, final rumor of the day, and this one is a feel-good story because it is time somebody outside the coaching staff started giving this man his flowers. Which rookie is impressing me the most right now? We have all talked plenty about the rookie running back turning heads. We have talked about the rookie center and the young pass rusher generating buzz, but there is one name that deserves way more shine, and that is Quinn Miners. I thought Quinn Miners played outstanding football against the Falcons. 50 snaps in that first preseason game, and he allowed just one single pressure. One. Sign me up every single time. Now, is he a perfect finished product? Of course not. The man is a rookie, he is still developing. But he is impressing far more than just the coaching staff and his own teammates. He is turning heads among the media covering training camp too. One well-respected reporter who has been at Broncos camp basically every single day recently said Quinn Miners is remarkably stout on the interior. Consistently plays with the lowest pad level and leverage in every rep and has genuinely strong, active hands. That is not a compliment you throw around lightly for a rookie offensive lineman. Here's what makes Quinn Miners truly special, though. Versatility. The man can legitimately play all over that offensive line. Need him at tackle in a pinch? He can do it. Want him at guard, which is his primary long-term projection? He is getting heavy reps there. Want to test him at center? He has taken snaps there too. Veteran offensive lineman Mike McGlinchey has publicly praised him, saying Quinn Miners has been genuinely awesome and impressive with a real future ahead of him in this league. Personally, I think Quinn Miners is the natural heir apparent to eventually replace Ben Powers on this offensive line. Not this year, to be clear. I am not wishing an injury on anybody. I want all 5 starting offensive linemen healthy and dominant all season long. But we all know the brutal physical nature of playing offensive line in the NFL. At some point this season, Quinn Miners is likely getting meaningful game reps, whether that is at guard or center, or in an emergency scenario, even at tackle. That kind of praise lines up with what head coach Sean Payton has said about the young offensive line depth as a whole, describing one developing prospect as having good feet, a high football IQ, projecting best at guard long-term, but flexible enough to kick inside to center if needed, and someone who clearly came from a well-coached program because it shows up on tape immediately. Look, nobody wants to see any of Denver's starting 5 offensive linemen forced out of a game. But if that ever happens, it is genuinely comforting to know the next man up has been turning heads all camp long. And let's be honest with ourselves for a second. This offensive line remains the best in the entire NFL. Do not let anybody tell you otherwise. Which means the backups and reserves on this roster would legitimately start for probably 20 other teams around the league. That is not hype, that is just where this roster sits right now. So there you have it. Broncos Country. 3 rumors, 3 storylines that are going to shape this football team as we march toward Friday night's preseason matchup with the Packers at home. A talented young receiver quietly sliding down the pecking order, a former hyped-up linebacker whose roster spot is looking shakier by the day, and a rookie offensive lineman quietly building himself into one of the most valuable insurance policies on the entire roster. Football season is almost here, and this team is only getting more fascinating by the day. Now listen, before you go anywhere, I need you to do something for me. We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers on this channel, and every single one of you watching right now can get us there. If this video kept you entertained, if you learned something, if you just enjoyed hanging out with me for the last few minutes, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below with your take on Troy Franklin, Drew Sanders, or Quinn Miners. I read every single one of them. And here's the best part. Once we hit that 1,000 subscriber mark, we are doing a jersey giveaway. A real, actual Broncos jersey going out to one lucky subscriber. So the more of you that join this family, the closer we get to making that giveaway happen. Subscribe, like, comment, and let's get there together. Until next time, Broncos Country, this has been Uncle Moose, and I will see you in the next one.